Good afternoon. This is Kathleen at My Alabama Farm Life, and I've been doing a lot of decluttering down here in my basement. Just a lot of stuff has been piling up down here. But today I have been working on getting all my tomatoes out of my hydroponics. The tomatoes that I had growing in my hydroponic systems behind me were, oh my goodness, they were just bursting out of these systems. So it was time to get them out. So I've been wanting to use what is called a Kracky system, and I'll explain that to you a little bit later. But I've been wanting to use this type of hydroponics, and I'm finally doing it.
Now, I've been tinkering with hydroponics for a while, and actually my first system was an aquaponics. I took some styrofoam, some neti cups, and I grew some lettuce on top of my aquarium. And then I invested in the aero gardens, and then I also had another system that I used that was an ebb and flow. But I really haven't done anything since I've moved to Alabama. It was my friend Lisa at Yogi Hollow Farms that introduced me to the Kracky hydroponic system, and I was really excited about it, and I bought a bunch of stuff and I never used it. Now, Lisa was smart and she started off small. She used some mason jars, she used old coffee cans, she used a lot of things that she already had on her farm. And I'm going to do kind of the same thing. Now, I have had these 5-gallon buckets. 3 of them were holding some of my preps that I forgot about in my basement. So I've got those all cleaned out. I'm going to rinse them out really good, and then I'm going to fill them up with water. Now, I already have 3 other buckets inside the house. This is actually the 4th bucket that I filled up. Now, the other 3 buckets I filled up the other day, and I've let them sit. I have city water, and it has a tendency to have a lot of chlorination in it, so I wanted it to sit for a couple of days so it wasn't so chlorinated. Now, this one I'm going to go ahead and fill up and bring inside, but I'm going to wait at least 24 hours before I put any tomatoes into it. So last September, I ordered these plant lights. They're for indoor growing. It says it's a 4-head 80 LED full spectrum grow lights for seed starting. And it says they're 15 to 61 inches, and it has an adjustable tripod stand. And the maker, it says it's Wolzek, Wolezek, Wolzek. I also have these 6-inch wide lip bucket baskets. They came in a set of 6, and they're for 5-gallon bucket lids. They are net pots for hydroponics. Now, these pots, they fit fairly nice, but you'd think that they would snap on, but they're just too small and they won't snap. But there's a closer look of the baskets. It's pretty big. So let's talk about the Kracky hydroponics concept. A gentleman named Dr. Kratky, he used this system where he would take a container, he would fill it with water, he would use the net pot, and then add the nutrients to the water. From what I understand, you would have enough nutrients in the water for the plant to grow to harvest, and then that's when the nutrients in the water should be gone. I'm going to use Miracle Grow nutrients, and I've decided that I'm just going to use like half of a tablespoon, and I put that in each of the containers. Then I let them sit for a couple of days, and now it's time to get our tomatoes into these containers. However, first I have to solve a problem. I do not have a medium to grow these tomatoes in. I don't have any coco coir. I don't have any of those little clay pebbles. So I'm going to have to figure out something to grow these tomatoes in. And then I open this box and realize that I have a whole box of rock wool. And I bought them to start seeds, but I think I can use them to help me keep these tomatoes standing upright and help absorb water. So we're going to see if this works. Get back. All right, so I'm going to pull these 3 plants that I have in my I-Do. These 3 plants have just, like I said earlier, they have just exploded out of this little hydroponics. And I'm going to pull them out as gently as possible, and I'm not going to take the plastic off. I'm going to keep it on, and I'm just going to go ahead and add it to my pot and use the rock wool blocks to help support it and help with water absorption. I am really impressed at how thick and strong these little tomatoes are. I always seem to have a problem with spindly or leggy tomatoes, and I'm really loving how these guys came up. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add a few more of these little rock wool squares. They seem to be really working well. All right, my first tomato is in, and it looks like it's pretty stable, and Rudy thinks it's pretty stable too. At least I think that's what he's thinking. So I want to talk some more about these little tomatoes. These are a yellow pear tomato, and from what I understand, it's one of the older small fruit types, and it was actually developed in 1805 in Europe. So it is an heirloom, and it is indeterminate, which means it'll keep on growing, and it produces these little pear-shaped, lemon-colored tomatoes, and they are delicious. When I can grow them and harvest from them, they are really good. I have grown these in pots in my greenhouse before, and I was actually able to harvest a little late in the fall, but once it got really cold, I had a hard time with them. So I thought this would be a good idea to try to grow them hydroponically in the basement and see if I could get them to produce fruit over winter. And having this thought, I went and bought all the equipment that I thought that I would need, and then never did it. But this year, January 2024, and I thought I'd take advantage of my motivation of the new year and to get everything set up and started. So now let's talk about one of my biggest concerns. Growing in the basement, it can get cold down here. So far, it has been our experience that the temperatures never get below, let's say, 52. I think the lowest I've ever seen it was like 52. Even when we were experiencing those teen temperatures last year, it never froze in the basement. So I know my plants won't freeze down here, but the question is, will it be warm enough for these plants to produce fruit? All right, guys, I'm going to let you in on a little secret if you didn't already know. I am a huge procrastinator, and I tend to be lazy. I want to make things as easy and with the least amount of work as possible. So I'm always trying to think of ways to do that. So I have been watching a lot of videos where other gardeners who are growing in their basement have created a box or a grow room or a small grow room where they can grow their plants. Well, I'm not to that point yet. I'm going to go ahead and try this first, and then maybe next year I'll go ahead and build something that will be more enclosed and keep my plants warmer so they have a better chance of success. But, you know, in the name of experimentation, let's just do the most simplest and basic form of growing in the basement, and let's see how they do. Guys, I want to challenge you to start growing your own food. And it doesn't have to be anything complicated. You can take a plastic cup, you can put some holes in it, fill it up with soil that you get outside, and find a few seeds and start some seeds. And if you don't have any seeds, I would be more than happy to provide you with some. Just let me know what kind of seeds you want. I'm going to need your address, and I will mail you some seeds so that you can get started on your growing journey. Just let me know something in the comments. All right, so this last plant, I think I pulled it from my Mufka, and it's not as pretty as the other ones, but it's still doing really well. In fact, this actually worked out better than I thought it would. I don't know why it took me so long to do this, but there you go, guys. I've got 4 yellow pear tomatoes in 5-gallon buckets in water and nutrients, and I think they actually look pretty good, but you tell me what you think.
So this is going to be the end to this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and maybe learned something. You guys have a blessed and joyous day, and I will see you on my next video.